Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all the books that I only bought because TikTok forced me to. I don't know what else to say. It was all TikTok, not my choice. Alright, let's jump into it. Okay, the first book that TikTok made me buy was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I never bought one of Sarah J. Maas's books because they were just such high fantasy books and I just was not into that. But this one I saw so many places. So honestly, she had, oh goodness, like 5 of the books in this series out before I even picked up the first one. I don't know what it is about Sarah J. Maas's books that just kind of intimidate me. I don't know if it's the hype or the fantasy part or just that they're kind of long, but I don't know what it is. This one follows a 19-year-old huntress named Fair, and she kills a wolf in the woods, and then a terrifying fairy actually comes and wants retribution for that wolf, and his name is wait for it, Tamlin. His name is Tamlin. So she is swept into this other world of the fairies, and then she decides that then she starts spending more time with Tamlin, and they start doing things together. She starts to like this world. She's calling it home now. And then an ancient and wicked shadow starts to endanger the fairyland, and she now has to protect Tamlin, protect this new home that she had, or that she has found. And it just sounds so good. I don't know if it's the hype that's making it sound so good to me. But all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, I could get into a fairy world. Like, why not? I really just want to get into it, though. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I think it's just the fact that it is such high fantasy that is kind of just intimidating to me. I don't know. Do you guys have one of those books that just, you want to read it so bad, but it's so intimidating that you just keep putting it on your TBR and it just never comes off of your TBR? Because that's how I feel. All right, They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This book I saw everywhere, but I never wanted to read it. Like, telling me that they both die in the end, I don't know, just that title was just so off-putting to me at first. And then when I read the synopsis and found out that, it's Mateo and Rufus, and they both have found out bad news that they only had 24 hours to live, and they both want to just make a new friend for their last day of life. And they actually use an app to find a friend. And then they have these adventures. And they just have like this one last day together. And they try to do as many things as they possibly can. I think it sounds really beautiful. It sounds amazing. But I don't know. I wonder if it's just the thought of like that both of these main characters that you're going to fall in love with are just going to die at the end is just so epically dramatic to me that I just could not pick it up. But I just kept seeing it so many places, and I just had to do it. I just had to get it. So I did. I'm gonna read it. I might have to be in like, I don't know if it's like I don't know how the feel of that book is supposed to be. So if someone else knows, let me know in the comments. All right, The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This book is all over TikTok like right now. I know that there's 3 of them already. And I didn't even see the hype for this book until the 3rd one came out. Like the 3rd one was already launching, and then this one just blew up everywhere. I finally picked it up. I finally found it in my bookstore, and I didn't want to order it on Amazon, so I just kept looking for it. I figured if it was meant to be, it was meant to be, and it was meant to be. So I have The Fine Print. This one is supposed to be super spicy. It's very adult, definitely. This one follows Rowan, says he's in the business for creating fairy tales, theme parks, production companies, 5-star hotels, renovating Dreamland. It says, everything could be all mine if I renovate Dreamland. My initial idea for hiring Zahara was good in theory until I kissed her, then things spiraled out of control once I texted her using an alias. By the time I realized where I went wrong, it was too late, and people like me don't get happy endings. Then Zahara says, after submitting drunk proposal criticizing Dreamland, most expensive ride, I should have been fired. Instead, Rowan offered me a dream job. The catch, I had to work for the most difficult boss ever. Rowan was rude and off limits, but my heart didn't care, at least not until I discovered his secret and the time to teach a billionaire that money can't fix everything. This just sounds really adventurous, really fun, really saucy. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be saucy. I know it's gonna be that way. This one is the Dreamland Billionaires. I love the cover of this book. It's beautiful. I didn't know what it was about at all whatsoever when I bought it, but I had seen it all over the place, so I did not care what it was about. I just bought it. And I'm not one of those people that really minds the book having a lot of smut in them. So I just went ahead, I bought it, and then I realized what it was kind of about, and I kind of got more into it, and I understand the hype around it. Like, that just sounds so fairy tale and beautiful, and I really hope that the character building is really good in this, and I hope that, like, the theme park and hotel renovating, and I really hope that the actual world building is amazing as well. Like, I think that will make this book a lot better. Taylor Jenkins reads The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I thought this book was a nonfiction. Like, I did. I'm not even upset about saying it. I thought this was a real person. Like, I didn't buy it, and then Taylor Jenkins Reid just blew up, like absolutely blew up. And I was like, okay, it's time for me to jump on board. Like, I'm going to buy this book. Everybody absolutely loves it. I don't care if it's a nonfiction. Like, I love nonfictions. I can get into someone's memoir. Like, let's do it. And then I realized that it was actually not a nonfiction. And this person does not really exist in real life. And then I decided I'd probably like it even more. So this one follows Evelyn Hugo. She's an executive Hollywood icon. This is going to be telling her glamorous and scandalous life. She decides that it's time to open up about being in the Hollywood business for 30 years of her life. She chooses an unknown magazine reporter named Monique to capture her life. And nobody understands why she chose this nobody. Monique doesn't really understand it, but she's super excited because she thinks this is going to just jumpstart her career. They go over all the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo, the ruthless ambitions, the unexpected friendships, the forbidden love. And as Monique is listening to this story and we're following them through this book, she's supposed to start realizing that maybe she has more in common with Evelyn Hugo than she initially thought. And it's supposed to be tragic and irreversible, and I just can't wait to get into it. I think it's going to be absolutely breathtaking. I think Taylor Jenkins Reid is absolutely wonderful, and all of her books are done so well that I think this book is just going to be stuck in my head for a very long time once I finally get around to reading it. I got this new cup, and I absolutely love it. It's so cute. I love buying cups. Our next one that I have to talk about is Icebreakers by Hannah Grace. This book is so many places. Everybody is absolutely adoring this book, and I can't wait to adore it also. This one follows Anastasia, and she's a figure skater at that just got a scholarship to the University of California, and she is going to tried to get on Team USA for the Olympics, and she actually bumps into Nate, and he is the team captain for the hockey team at the university. All he cares about is just being on the ice and playing and practicing until the facility actually makes a mess up and schedules the figure skating team and the hockey team on the ice at the exact same time. Anastasia is not happy about it. She doesn't like Nate. She doesn't like hockey. Nate is perfectly fine with it as long as they get the ice as well. And he just has this real feeling that Anastasia just does not like him. And then Anastasia's partner actually has a accident, or something happens to her partner that makes it where he cannot actually be her partner anymore. So she is going to have to look to Hank to help her out in this figure skating competition to get on Team USA. So her future depends on Hank, and he is all for it. I think he gives her a little bit of pushback, but they start spending time together. She decides that they have a little bit of chemistry. She doesn't think that she can fall for a hockey player, but I think this book has other plans for her. I think this is going to be an absolute adorable romance. I kind of do want to get it off my TBR this fall, or kind of leading into winter, because it has that hockey figure skating vibes that I think would be perfect for this time of the year to get you kind of in that cozy, warm feeling. Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake is another one of those books that TikTok absolutely fell for. There are so many booktubers that actually I have followed for many years that they didn't even pick this book up until it got so much hype on TikTok, and I think it gets so much hype for good reasons. So this one follows Delilah Green. Obviously, she never wanted to come back to Bright Falls. She is an artist. She lives in New York now. She is a photographer until her little sister decides to get married, and she is sent back to her hometown. She bumps into Claire, her stepsister's best friend. She thinks she's stuck up. She doesn't really want anything to do with her until they both decide that Astrid, her sister, is marrying a jerk of a fiance, and they decide that they are both going to team up to get rid of this boy and change Astrid's mind of marrying him. So they have the weekend of this wedding to kind of team up, be kind of enemies to lovers, kind of just not best friends, and they just get to try to ruin this wedding together. And I love wedding books. I'm all for it. But I think this one's just going to have that extra twist of actually trying to break off the wedding instead of all these wedding love vibes. And I think it's going to be really, really special to see to see Delilah and Claire finally work through this angry phase of theirs and fall in love while trying to break up someone else's wedding. I think it's going to be wonderful. I can't wait to read it. I absolutely think it will deserve the hype that it gets. I'm thinking this is going to be one of my new favorite books, or at least a 5 out of 5 stars for me for sure. Another smutty book on our list, Twisted Love by Anne Hang. This one, oh my goodness, it's so many places. I absolutely love watching TikTok and seeing this book all over it. Like, I just really want to get into this book. This one follows Alex. He's devil blessed with the face of an angel and a haunted past. He has a ruthless pursuit for success and vengeance, but he is forced to look after Ava, his best friend's little sister, which is, I don't know, that just sounds like it's going to be amazing. So Ava is a free spirit. She is completely different than Alex in every single way, but she has nightmares of a childhood that she can't even really remember. So when Alex is entrusted to kind of watch after her for his best friend, he doesn't think that it's a good idea. They have nothing in common. They're completely different people. She's such a free-spirited, loves everything, sees the beauty in all, and she even sees the beauty in Alex, which I think is beautiful. And I just think that she is going to change his mind and his outlook on life and what true love can really be like for him. And I think they're both going to probably have some struggles with their past, and they're probably going to explore that a little bit in the book. But I think it's going to be a very smutty, very saucy book. I think it's going to have those things from their past kind of put pressure on their relationship. And I think that this is just going to be super, super wonderful. It's a love that's supposed to never happened and can unleash secrets that could possibly destroy them in the end. I just really want to get into this book. I don't know. I love telling you guys that. I'm just so ready to just sit down and read and read and read and read and read. And then read some more. Colleen Hoover had to make it on this list. She's nonstop all over Instagram, all over TikTok. She's just there. But this is Verity. This one is very, very different. This one's a psychological thriller when typically she reads or writes romances. This one has a little bit of romance in it, but overall it is that psychological thriller, kind of gets in your head. Super, super creative way of going about it. This one still has a writing element in it, which I absolutely love. This one follows Lowen, and she's a struggling writer on the brink of financial ruin until she takes a job for Jeremy Crawford to finish the best-selling author Verity Crawford's books in a series that she is unable to finish herself due to an injury. So Lowen takes this job. She goes to their house. Lowen gets access to Verity's study. She's going through notes, trying to find information for how to go about finishing this series for Verity. And then she comes across her autobiography that was meant to not be read by anybody except for Verity. So Lowen kind of snoops. She goes ahead and reads it, finds a bunch of dark secrets, and she tries to keep that to herself. And then she starts having feelings for Jeremy, obviously. Starts getting these thoughts of maybe if she shows him his wife's autobiography, that he will just choose her over his injured wife. And I think that sounds so twisted. This book was on everybody's radar because it's so completely different than all of Colleen Hoover's other books, obviously. And everybody just loved it. Like, I don't know if Colleen Hoover is going to kind of try to go this direction in the future, or if she's going to add in some more psychological thrillers into her franchise, but everybody absolutely loved this book. So I cannot wait to jump into it and figure out what is so crazy good about this book. Most people that I watch, like, they could not stop reading this book. And I think just with the premise that it is, that I think that's what that kind of book's gonna be, is just a psychological thriller that just pulls you in absolutely the entire time. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, and Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I shouldn't even have to talk about them. Like, really. I feel like everybody should know. But they're long, and that is really what gets me. But I still want to read them. I thought they were beautiful. I had them on my wish list for a very long time, ever since it came out, but I didn't ever jump the gun and buy them. I didn't even know they were this long when I purchased it, honestly. And then I just started seeing it all over the place, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's just buy them. It's time. She has a second book just came out, so I'm going to buy both of them at the same time, which I did. And this one follows Naomi Witt, and she's on the run, not just from her fiancé and a church, but from her entire life, which ends up taking her to her twin sister, Tina in Knockmount. So this is rough, rounded edge town where disputes are settled the old-fashioned way with fists and beer, usually in that order. But too bad for Naomi that her twin is evil, and when she gets there to run away from her own tragic life, her sister actually steals her car, steals her money, and leaves her with her daughter that Naomi never even knew existed. And she is just an 11-year-old little girl. She is crazy because her mom's kind of out there, so she is just a very sassy preteen. So Naomi is just kind of upended once again. And then the bad boy barber of the town does not like high maintenance women. He's not a type A romantic, but he watches and is witness to Naomi's whole life going up in smokes, her sister stealing the car, stealing her money, leaving her with this 11-year-old, that he kind of takes pity on Naomi, lets him stay with her, figures that she'll get her life back on track in a couple days, and then he can just go back to being his quiet little lonesome self, and that all does not happen, obviously. So I think this is going to be like a really good romance. I think it's going to be kind of a mystery. I think that probably her past is going to come into play at some point in this book, and we're going to figure out why she was running from her past life. I think she's going to have some really beautiful moments with her 11-year-old niece that she's going to take care of, and I think her and Knox is going to kind of create their own little family in this book, and I think that sounds beautiful. The second book is going to have kind of the same premise where a woman named Linda is kind of on the run from her past, and she finds herself in Knockmount where she's dog sitting, saying yes to bride's dresses, listening to the sexy chief of police, and she starts getting this flirty moment with him until he finally figures out what secrets she has and why she's really in this town, and he decides that maybe they're actually enemies instead of flirting friends, until getting put in danger, him and her, kind of pushes them back together. These books kind of remind me of the movie with Julianne Hough. What is that movie called? Safe Haven. These books, I think, are going to really remind me of that movie, and I absolutely adored that movie. I loved it. I think her and, what was his name? Timothy Olyphant? Was it Timothy Olyphant that played on that movie? I think they did a wonderful job with that movie, and it just gives me those vibes, and I can't get past that. Like, that's just the thought that I get when I read the synopsis of those books. But other than that, my friends, I am so excited to jump into these TikTok hyped books. I love scrolling on TikTok and finding new recommendations. So if you have any more recommendations for me, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, if you've read any of these books and you think they deserve all the hype they've gotten, let me know also so I can figure out which ones are going to go on my TBR next. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.